So should we check the sound before you do?
Now, okay, we are live.
Okay, great.
Okay, so let's check. Can you check and see if we're on Facebook?
Yeah.
And so I want to welcome everyone to the Awakening Souls podcast. My name is Suzette Denny, and I am your host. And Alasa is going to be my first ever guest because this is my first show. So I'm live on Facebook and I'm live on YouTube. And if you have any questions, just please ask down there. I don't know if we'll be able to see them because this is the first time we've streamed on StreamYard, but we're here to tell you about our spiritual journeys. So, Alasa, tell us how your journey began.
Okay, I will. And I'm just checking
Let me
on
see.
Facebook. I don't see it on Facebook. Was it on a special page or just
Yeah,
your
we're on here.
You got it? Great.
It's
Okay.
it's on Facebook on mine. You can share it over to yours if you want. Go ahead and do that right now.
Okay.
And then it's live on my Facebook, and then you can go on my Facebook, or I can share it, the link to you, and you can put it on your, because you have YouTube, right?
I do.
Okay, we'll put it on your YouTube too.
I don't see it yet on my Facebook. So if you want to send me the link in Messenger.
Okay, it's saying
We could be on different timelines, which is what I'll talk about today.
right, and it's not showing me where I can share it out. So I'm not sure afterwards.
Okay, well, we'll do that later.
Okay.
So welcome, everybody. I am really happy to be here with Suzette, especially on Awakened Souls. That's a very powerful name. And where did I begin on my spiritual journey? Okay. There's a time of early childhood where I was very wise for my age and giving lots of guidance to my parents, on my father on long drives, and my mother as she would just be going over her life. I can remember lots of times of giving counsel. And I remember a lot of crying, though, of why am I here? And I was very upset with Christ. I love Jesus and Christ, however we're looking at the names and the way that's a whole other story. But I would cry in my room asking, why am I here? Why did I have to come back? And I was very upset. So most of my early childhood was just very kind of like bummed out of being here. And at 9, I had a brain injury, a near-death experience. And that near-death experience, it gave me like a reboot.
Wow.
Because when I came out of that, I was like, I knew why I was here. I had full check-in on, what the goal was. I found a book called Heal Your Body.
By Louise Hay.
And a Carolyn Mace book. And I felt like, okay, there's people on the planet who know what's going on. I'm okay. And I was very dedicated that I'm going to be helping people. And so I studied a lot of energy medicine in those types of books that I could find all through my, 10 to my teens.
Wow. That was
young. Yeah. And I went to college for occupational therapy. I was going to do doctor and switch to occupational therapy because I didn't want to stay as long. So I tried to find a shorter program that I could still help people. And 9/11 happened when I was in college, and I was already helping a lot of people. They would come to my house for counsel or for art. And when 9/11 happened, it was definitely like a really great wake up because I had my first vision. I had people over and doing art and just kind of processing the experience. And I had a vision of, when I was walking down my hallway, of a version of myself, Tibetan version of myself, levitating on a blank white canvas that I was going to do my first painting.
Oh, wow.
And so that stirred a lot even more because I wasn't really satisfied in the university. I was always kind of the oddball, raising my hand saying, well, this doesn't really seem right that you want to do surgery when it just seems that all that they need to do is start meditating and
Yes.
getting connected
Right.
with why they're not at ease. So I started a non-for-profit called Find Ease while I was in the university to help other students who were kind of like in the same boat as me with wanting to help in other ways with art. And I found a Reiki school down the street and did all the trainings with Reiki. So I wanted to introduce Reiki to the university students. And that set the tone of like, okay, there's definitely going to be another path when I get out of college.
So that's funny. I've had that experience when I was young. Like, why am I here? Now, my journey wasn't like that. And I was way older, but I was like, yeah, why am I here? And I've had to go a long journey trying to find out why I'm here. But you were one of my beginning journeys that I got to come down to Palm Harbor, and you were like one of my mentors to get out and to feel like I belonged. You made me feel like I was at home with my own soul. So I appreciate that. But
yeah.
so you have been awakened like most of all your life. So you've known that.
Yeah.
That's wow.
So when this is a fun story.
Okay. We want fun.
So in college, there was a gentleman that would drive a old truck with Proverbs painted all over it and all sorts of junk tied onto it. And he had 6 dogs and a cat living in the back. And his name was Monroe Lee.
God.
And I was sitting on my front porch talking to my mom on a phone, cordless phone, kind of landline, which seemed ancient.
I remember those.
And I had a long, front path to a busy road. So, it wasn't like someone could just easily see me. Well, here comes Monroe Lee with his truck. And I just said the day before I wanted to meet that guy, he was pretty cool. And he stops his truck, maybe like an acre in front of me. And he points to me and beckons me to come. Wow. So I walk down and say, hi, I wanted to meet you. I just saw your truck yesterday and said I wanted to meet you. And he said, I need to work with you. I build churches.
Oh.
So he lived in his truck with his 6 dogs and his cat, and he was an architect for churches, and trained by an architect who took him under his wing as a younger lad, Indian, dark-skinned Indian with a big cowboy hat. Anyways, I weave him in because these are the type of characters that I've been dealing with all my life as very sacred teachers that come in out of the ether, I call them seeds, because I know that they're planted in front of me for a reason. They're coming.
Oh, seeds. Okay.
Yeah. So Monroe Lee was one of my teachers that came forth in that way. And I jumped forward to, I'm graduating master's program in occupational therapy. And the night before graduation, I'm meditating in my room and I hear, you're going to tell your parents when they come tomorrow that you're not going to do occupational therapy. You're going to open up a healing center and just, work for not-for-profit and bring people in who need assistance with yoga and Reiki and things like that. So I said, all right. And that's how I kind of still am. I still communicate with consciousness in that way in my meditations. And so when my parents got there, Monroe Lee pulled up as well, in front of my house. My parents and Monroe Lee in a silver suit, this shiny silver suit that you don't really think would ever exist.
Yeah. I've never seen one of those.
I have lots of these stories. Okay. So anywho, they come and I share with the 3 of them that I'm not going to be doing occupational therapy and what I just told you. And my father said, yay, you figured it out.
Oh, he already knew?
So he said, well, I'll give you the house in Ozona and it was 505 Orange Street, which 505 is SOS, so it was the Help House. And he said, I'll give you the house and you can, run your healing arts center out of there. So that's kind of how I started with opening centers. It went from one center to another center, and it's been centers ever since, with slight gaps in time, of, going off and searching through the plane of existence, traveling in my car like you did and you do, kind of finding the way, like, what's next? What's the bigger messages that want to be shown? So, yeah.
That sounds beautiful. And I love it that your dad said yes. Like he's already knew that. And I've done this too. I went to phlebotomy school and I've done these other things thinking, oh, I'm going to do this. And I have never even done any of that. My human me was like, oh, I'm going to do this. And my soul was like, okay, here she goes. She's doing all this stuff.
What's phlebotomy?
Where you draw blood.
Oh, interesting.
So the nurses, I've graduated from there, and everybody actually used my arms for testing because it was so, my veins were so big. But
there's something to that.
I never did work a day of it, and I graduated with A+ and everything. But it's so funny how but you had support right there, and you knew, and at a young age, that's what, So do you ever remember a time that you weren't, what do you call, spiritual waked or woke, or do you feel like you were just always that?
No, I definitely, like I said, in between stages, I would want to explore and push the envelope and push the barriers to figure out like what else is going on here. I definitely had a lot of, partying and sex, drugs, and rock and roll, to also push into directions, because I was just seeking, right? Always seeking. So seeking in the spiritual realm, and then seeking in like the darker, and finding, really, I think that's what we're here for, is to seek and neutralize these polarities and these opposites through, all the different experiences. We keep like finding self.
Yes, I believe that. I was watching a podcast the other day, and the woman said she was on cocaine, and then she said, I'm done. And that's when she started her spiritual awakening. It's people, people kind of into it in different aspects. Like me, I went through a great big divorce. Here you are. Who are you? And then that's when I started asking. But you started as a child, and that's great.
Yeah. It brings up a story that also feels appropriate.
Okay.
So when I was opened up the first center, actually it's very interesting. That leads to another story. I opened up the first center and then opened up 3 centers in a row down that street. So it was more about clearing a ley line, a song line, dragon line. And when I opened up the 4th center in a row, I got a call from another seed mentor who, I was laying on my couch, and I had just opened up the 4th center with this gentleman, Joseph, who had just reopened the Glastonbury Chalice Wells in Glastonbury, England. And he had come back to the States and found me at a coffee shop and said I looked interesting. And I told him, oh, cool. I just looked at this building I want to rent because I want to open up a bigger center. He said, well, take me to it. So within like 10 minutes, I took this gentleman over to this 4th center location that would make a bigger location for the yoga and the art and the juicing and all that.
Wow.
And I get to, something just started echoing. Okay, so I am laying on my couch after opening this at the 505 Orange Street house, and I get a phone call on a fax line, my father's fax line. And I'm meditating as usual, and I'm asking within, do you want me to answer that? Because I know like it's, maybe 10 o'clock at night, the fax line shouldn't be ringing. sure enough, I pick it up and it's this guy, and he says, "Are you looking for clarity?" And I said, "Well, I'm always looking for clarity." Sounds like Lucy said. And I think that's how you came to me, which is interesting. I'm having a deja vu with you. But I said, "Looking for clarity. I'm always looking. Who is this?" I name a bunch of guys that could be pulling a prank on me from the center. And he's like, "Look, I'm meditating in the Himalayas, and I get your phone number 3 times, and I come down off the mountain to talk to you. You need to, if you're going to talk to me, you better talk to me." And I'm like, "Oh my God, okay, I'm sorry." And so this led to many conversations with this teacher, and he spoke with my parents because I wanted my parents to cross-check this experience, what was happening. He told me all about Ilasa. I hadn't taken on the name Ilasa yet, but he told me all about when I would get to this point that I was going to be bringing forth a frequency of love that was needed through Ilasa. And anywho, what brings me to the story of Mirage is, as we had these phone calls, he said to me, "Look, are you ready for me to come there and work with you?" And I said, "Sure." He said, "Well, I need you to stop doing marijuana. You're smoking marijuana." And I was like, "Well, yeah, I do have marijuana here." And they said, "I need you fully clear, like nothing, you cannot be working with anything like that." And he actually said, "It's not time because I can just tell you're not ready, and I'll be back." So it's just interesting. When we're ready, the teachers arrive. And ultimately, what I've always shared with you or anybody is, who's the best teacher, right? Within us.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I found that to be true. And for me, opening up, awakening, I was looking everywhere trying to find a teacher to guide me. Naturally, I was, because I grew up I never, knew what to do without my mom or my husband or somebody telling me what to do. So all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, I'm in this world and I'm asking myself these questions. And then it's like, can you help me? Can you help me? But then I've got to meet you, and I've got to meet all these amazing people that actually helped me. And so that was great. But I do want to ask you this. So you said you had 4 centers. Was that in Palm Harbor too?
It was all on one street. So I kept opening up another building because I ended up living at that house he gave me, and I was having difficulty living at the house and having people coming for sessions. So I, got a building across the street, and then I got a second building to get bigger. And then I needed to bring all of that into one because I was running all 3 at once. And I was looking for a bigger building, which is now, it's in downtown Ozona. It was Ohana Cafe at one time, Consciousness Connection. Oh, wow. And this is interesting. It feels like let's keep going with these types of stories because I feel like they have a lot of, this was in my dream with you last night. So I dream the future every night. I am fully awake, lucid with the next day, because again, we have to realize what's really going on here is we are awakening our central channel to understand how the projector of the pineal gland and the reactor of the heart thymus work together to create reality. And so when you awaken lucid in your dream state at night, and you start to be awake in the dream, or when you get up to go pee at 3 or 4, spend some more time laying there, actually just visualizing, talking to consciousness, doing whatever you're going to do, plan your day, see your day happen. You can do all kinds of things, and that's what you will wake up into the next day, because this is, again, is just a shadow typically for most people of what their bigger spacious self. If all of space is true, no time, all space is you, the bigger universal consciousness. This, when you slide in down the central channel, when you're getting up in the day to move around, this is just the mover on the board. This is everything that you are.
So would you say imagination is everything, or visualization is everything? Because I do wake up in the middle of the night every single night. And it seems like I'm doing not only the work here now I'm wanting to do in the world, but working at night too.
The night is the real.
Mm.
And
So that's
when
why I
you,
butterfly every night.
yes, and if as you are awakened to the soul that you be and for eternity, the majority that you can really start to get clarity and do more um, purposeful, doing all your checkpoints of why you're here can be done at night, and then you can walk it in the day or be walked. You will be moved on the Hara line. Your central channel will be moved, and all the other souls who were with you that night will show up. So I see everybody that I was just with that night, and then I can have more clarity of being present with you and going to the next level of our check marks, why we truly are here together at this time.
Right.
And be in more joy and more play, because we've already finished up all the duality or opposite game. We're not showing up in drama together. We're showing up in purpose together, in joy and playfulness.
So some of the night is drama.
Yeah. And it's a place to do review.
Do your work.
Right? It's like your deep meditation is similar to your nighttime. And it's a place of creation, of dropping into the highest blueprint probability of existence that's already happening, because all the future's already happened.
Right.
So it's you are lining up in frequency so that you can actually occupy your central channel and then live that with purpose. That's what I'm saying. Like at night and day, the whole thing, there's no time. You are in purpose, in presence. You can't be in presence if you're still trying to do the check marks and still trying to, clear your opposites or clear your stories or, clear your karma or clear your,
it's funny. I went
misunderstandings.
When I first started my journey, it was like it was almost like I could manifest this, but now I still write down what I want to manifest, but it's not anything. It's something better and better and better. So it's like spirit has took over. I just say, oh, well, I'll do this. And it's funny because I'll write down, I'll do this today and this is how it'll play out. But it's just like, it's almost like the universe is showing me, no, it's not. And here, this is better and this is better and this is better. I'm like, oh my God. And I think it's because I wouldn't have chose that and I deserved better. So then they said, here, you get better. Right. I love that about the journey. I love that about it.
Because you've stepped in, you are soul, you know your soul, you've stepped into that higher alignment. And, in the highest alignment, everything's already there. And in the highest alignment, whatever you really do desire in the now moments, you're projecting it. Why would you not give yourself what you're actually wanting?
And the
small self who may still have these like earthly desires that thinks that's going to satisfy the yoke of the soul.
Yes.
When you go to make those desires, the true you is going to give you much better because why wouldn't you?
Right.
Much better.
But people fight against it, myself including. Like, I'm like, why? I want this, but I feel like I'm going over here. And it's like, I'm not allowing myself to have it. Earlier, I was even in my kitchen going, I'm allowing anything. I'm allowing abundance. I deserve this. This is my birthright, all this. But so many of us don't believe that.
Well, it's these old vows to poverty, these old vows to the lower world. Now, when you release the lower vows to the lower world, when you release the vows that you took to poverty, because the poverty is misunderstood, meaning in the lower world, you wouldn't want to hang on to all these things of gross matter because you wouldn't be able to get up your central channel to come out the pineal gland to start controlling the higher reality.
Right.
So you let go of all the things and you were, in prayer and meditation, other lifetimes, a Tibetan monk, whatever the detail was, a nun, etc. You were trying to find your way up the path to get to all of self, to get to this understanding of a higher consciousness. So we have to kind of deep dig and find those places where we made these vows. For the time they were perfect, but for the now, it's like in this, as soon as we get to the heart and presence and we get to the pineal gland and creation of the highest blueprint possible, which again already exists because you're just playing with yourself right now.
Right.
So as you get up to this higher world, the plane of existence is like a heavenly state where, of course, why would you withhold anything when all it is a stacking of light particles? you're just, and you're having the experience. And when you have that experience of like, yeah, worth is key. Like, so like, I am worthy to now release all of that I set up in another timeline and rise into this higher experience of presence to go ahead and have the best, most fun experience that I possibly could by stacking up light particles in my hologram and experiencing a mansion or whatever it is. You're not attached to it,
Yeah.
but you're wanting to experience everything possible that you can experience here. And by golly, do it, because that's, again, the next level of mastery is to be able to yield and wield and allow through worth anything that you desire to be experienced. Now, if you're going to experience a, what is it called? A mansion, I just said, but yet the next day you want to go swim with dolphins, you're not going to cling on to the mansion and be like, I can't leave here because I just created this, which happens
Yes.
with, I notice, on the journey. But if you're willing to let that just be like, yeah, it'll be here if it is or not, or maybe you're at an Airbnb and you're experiencing it that way, and then the next day you go swim with dolphins, then
Yeah.
again, you're in this flow of staying present every now moment so that you can, again, go to these higher levels of yielding and wielding the light particles on the green screen, however it is that your heart desires every now moment.
Yes, that is beautiful. I'm hoping everyone understands this. I'm going to say this.
So stop, back
let-
up. Go ahead.
Excuse
Go
me.
ahead. I just was saying, if it's not understood, ask any questions, but you mean what you're going to say.
Yes. Ask any questions on YouTube or Facebook, and we will get to them. But I have, on my journey, it's been more like I have let go of everything. I've let go of all material stuff. I've moved, and then I moved to Tampa or Palm Harbor, and then I let go of stuff, and then I moved back to Indiana. I just let go of so much stuff. I just gifted to people. And now I came here and had my first apartment, and I already gave stuff away. And now I'm in another apartment that I have to say, God, the universe gave it to me. It's right on the ocean. And I would have not made this stuff up, but I was driving down the street and my voice said, go here and get an apartment. And I'm like, why? I already have I just moved here. It was like weird. And I end up in this apartment on the bay and I'm like, I don't know how I'm here. So I do believe in higher, and I will let go now. To bring stuff in, I will let go. I had to lose a friend to come here. I've lost almost all my friends, my childhood friends. What are you doing? Who are you? They don't understand it. I don't actually think I've lost them. They're my soul, still with me, but they're just not understanding. So, but yeah, I believe that you're definitely creating by letting go of what no longer serves us mentally, all of it.
Because when you let go, what do? You then use that essence, those light particles, to go ahead and re-project the next scene.
Well, it's funny. I cleaned my apartment out yesterday with all this stuff, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm excited of what's going to come because it has to fill back up, right?
Yeah, always. It will
like,
always fill back up because you're projecting it.
Right. And then it's going to be better. And then you're going to let that go. And it's going to be,
and
it always seems to get better.
Yeah. When people are clinging to the maps, to the corners, to the buildings, to the things, they literally are quantum entangled with so much anchor, so much lines of anchor that they can't move the light particles to the next scene as easy. At least, again, because there's a trajectory of, like you were talking earlier about manifestation, where, you could have had all those things anchored down. And yet I noticed through my own life, I'd be able to easily manifest with the affirmations, the vision boards, etc. Well, then that all stopped. As I was then, again, the soul will beckon you, the higher self, etc. It beckons you to the next level of your abilities. And then that required letting go. Like you're one of the best teachers of that. You've shown that for everybody who is around you or who's coming forth. We'll talk about that as well. But as you then get to that next stage of your development of the soul, it will require you to let go. Again, that renunciation of other timelines when we were nuns and priests, or not priests, but monks more so. Anyways, whatever, it was used usually in a religious stance because, again, that was just the way we were heading.
And it's funny, haven't had to let go of my family. Like my mom's more understanding. Both my children are both spiritual now, to where at first my daughter was like, you're like crazy. And now she's like, oh my God, Mom, this has happened. And she's just like one of my best friends I go to when somebody I need to, just say, I need to bounce this off of you, because I've had experiences. Like I had a download about some dopamine, and I told her about it, and she's like, oh my God, like this is science. So you have to tell people. And because you're like downloading these things, you're like, what? I don't even know anything about this stuff. So,
Right, but you're pulling it in, right, from the
yeah,
ether.
you get it from source or spirit or whatever. So it's amazing. I love it so much. And I love, like I said the other day on my Facebook, all these amazing women. Because we all have our own journey, our own story, but we're all coming back to one, ourselves, self-love, our worth, God, Jesus, whoever you want to call it.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, what I just referenced where there's more coming, meaning I've noticed that as you go through this journey, you will feel like even though your family's stuck around, same with mine, they've all evolved with me because again, as the heart is centered, we're willing to see everybody else around us evolving. They will too, because they will project what you're wanting to, or what you're allowing yourself to see of them. Anywho's, but what I have noticed is that there's like this building of a bridge. What consciousness talks about is you need to build a rainbow bridge for those others to start to see you on this next plane of existence. Because it'll seem like there's not a lot of people around for a while.
I haven't had anybody. I've been here for 4 months and I have no one. Well, my son's here, but and my dog, but I'm talking like I haven't had any of my friends. The only person I've talked to is my daughter and my mom. And I said, Spirit, you have me here by myself for a reason. So like when I'm in the car by myself, out to the beach by myself, it's me and God and me and Spirit. So, and I believe this is my season for another awakening, or, leveling up, or whatever they want to call it, but getting closer to that. And that's brought me here to be able to speak and say, oh gosh, I want to make a podcast. I put it out there, and like, I have people messaging me going, oh my God, I want to be on your podcast. And I'm like, excuse me. So I am let's make this thing. I believe, and I told my son, he said, I said, I don't even think you make money from podcasts. We were talking about that. And he's like, well, you do. And I said, you do? And I said, I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because I love this. I love to talk about this. I love all of it. And I want to help humanity. So I think our stories will help someone. I mean, I know they will. They've helped me when I've needed it. Your story, or, a lot of women's stories has helped me, and think, well, I'm not alone, because on this journey, you feel alone sometimes.
Yeah. So I was going to share last night's dream with you.
Okay. Yeah. You dreamed about me. No.
Every night I dream who I'm going to see the next day. So, last night's dream with you, we were in this vehicle, and we were going down this pathway, and you were like, we drove by all these monarch butterflies. Like there was hundreds. And you're like, Alasa, stop the car. And I'm like, okay. And I like go off to the side of the road, and we're running backwards towards this like bridge where all these monarch butterflies were when we drove by. And there was only a couple. And you're like, oh, we missed them. I'm like, it's okay, but look at this and this and this. And so we're looking at all these things, which is what we're doing. So we're going down a trail, like we're talking about our past, or, for me, and we're looking at things. But then all of a sudden, I'm like, Suzette, I can't find my camera or my keys. And so I'm like reaching in this black goo, which is kind of like antimatter, which I have behind me on the scene. And so I'm like reaching into black goo, and I pull the camera out, which we kind of had difficulty getting on the camera this morning, right? This call. So that was that scene. It's always, metaphorical, but it's really going to happen. And so we get the camera, right? I had to download the app,
Right.
And then I'm looking for the keys. And I am like, God, I'm going to have to get all new keys. And so that part of the dream was before getting on with you, I like found these old references to Solterra, to Soul School.
Mm-hmm.
And the keys were lost. They were like asking me to put new passcodes in and all these things to get to gather these reference points. So that kind of speaks to, that was the dream, but that speaks to also what we're talking about with the Rainbow Bridge building. And like you said, sometimes there's no bridge needed because you're really going upwards on the Rainbow Bridge to source, to God, you know, a season of just like receiving on the inner, and then using what you're doing this platform now and on the Ethernet, right? The fifth dimensional net of internet, to go ahead and make these new connections, almost like the Himalayan mountains, which is what I kind of reference when I'm working with people online, or if I dream of people online. It's like we're visiting each other's cave, you know, where we are like in caves, you know, by ourselves doing the work, and it doesn't necessarily look like the cave up in the Himalayan mountains anymore because we've almost disassembled, for some of us, that lower map. And because I believe it is important to realize that maps have been folded in again and again and again, and there's much more territory when you look at old maps where you can see like way far out all kinds of other continents and all kinds of other things going on that they don't want you to talk about or look at when you think that location is real. And thankfully scientists caught up to know that there is no location. It's just a belief in
Yeah.
maps, and it's a belief in a street.
Yeah, I believe that. A lot of, I know for myself, it's everything is a belief. Like my daughter will call and say, "Well, this is happening," and I'm like, "But that's not really. That's happening because you believe it." Because here's an example: the COVID. Everybody like around me would get COVID, and I said, "I'm not in that. I'm not doing that. I'm just not believing that." And I never did. I just never did. And I took care of my mom with it for like quarantine. My daughter had it, and we had a business together, so I had to work all the business. I mean, I just worked through the whole thing, like helping all these people. It's like, okay, whatever, you guys. But I just wasn't going to let myself believe that, and I did not. And I did not wear a mask unless I remember they started making it mandatory at Walmart. So I had to like to go in and stuff like that. But other than that, I was just like, okay, I'm just playing a little game. I guess I'll wear a mask if you want to. But my consciousness said, no, not doing it. And I just was well the whole time. So I think our beliefs has a lot to do with everything.
Absolutely.
All of it.
Wonderful.
So I'm so excited. I love our conversation. Let's see. Wrote down some questions. Let me see. I did want to ask you. So your wellness center that I went to is different now. So like I did Reiki with you, and we had a counseling meeting that was amazing. That I got to be able to take stuff off my chest that I still haven't told anybody in this whole lifetime. But anyway, you hold space for me. Now, do you do that now? What do you do at your wellness center now?
Okay, so yeah, it is my mom, Kay, Joy, and I reopened up the Palm Harbor building, the White Cottage. It is now R3 Miracles. And it's super exciting because my mom and I have done a center before together years ago. But then I was kind of still in my journey mode and needed to go out west. And my mom has always been one to like know the latest, tool for healing and gadgets. I go to her house and she always has the latest and the greatest. So we actually looked for a bunch of buildings around here, and nothing really seemed to work out because I wasn't back into the system yet. I had pulled myself out of the matrix and went into private, from public to private, and I couldn't seem to be seen by anyone in public commerce. So I'd go to the building to talk to them again, and they wouldn't know who I am, or I couldn't get through to them again. And that's a whole other topic that we're not going to go into right now, but
I seen you went offline for a long time.
Yeah, and I hope to talk to people about that if it's necessary. I'm sure it's going to be necessary for a handful of people. But when I was looking, I finally got a text from the old building that I'm at the old Solterra, the old Bliss, the old Om Sweet Om, all the different names it's been here, Yoga Balance. And they said, hey, this building's coming up for rent. Do you want it? And I'm like, oh my God. Okay.
That's where you're supposed to be.
Right. And Spirit said, you have so much, so much has been opened there at that Stargate. You need to continue working that gate until it's complete. So what we're doing now, which is so exciting, is that we have all the quantum healing technologies. We have a plasma light bed from Dan Winters and Paul Harris called Therify that we just got 3 weeks ago. It is amazing. I'm excited to go get on it later today. People could come try it out for a session for free. We have 0 gravity chairs. We have tensor rings. The walls are painted scalar technology. The place is so yummy. And our goal is to find as many of the best tools, and we have them on our website, for getting other centers and people's homes into sanctuary mode, but also for research purposes, for books and papers that will be written from these experiences. And it's just a really exciting time to be sharing that. As I've gotten this set up in a flow, I'm feeling now ready to start working with people with soul sessions and mentoring again. So that's been a while since I've done that.
Yes.
But I'm back online.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you back online, and I'm glad. Yeah, because there for a minute I was like, "What is she doing?" But I always knew that you were doing something. I just, we don't always know. I mean, when I get up at 3:00 in the morning and do whatever, people don't know we're doing the work. We're actually doing the work, like a light worker, whatever you want to call it. I know a lot of people call them light workers, but that's what we're doing. That's what we're really doing.
Right. That's when it's so easy to hear. Like when we're woken up at 3, do this, get up. And I'm like, oh,
I know. I'm like, my human's tired now. I want to go to sleep. I don't want to get up so early. But I'm telling you, I feel in the daytime, though, I feel like I'm energized, and it's like I had slept. So it's, and every morning I get up. It's so funny. Like every morning I get up and I'll meditate around 5:00, and I'll purposely go and put my pillow in another room. So I have to go grab it and put it, and this one morning I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to meditate today. Then I went and got it. I said, and then my voice was like, yeah, you are. So I did. And then that's when I got the big download, like the dopamine download, and was like, oh my gosh, so excited. And I thought, you are always meditating. Like, don't take that away from you, because we feel like we can go without it, but it just clears up for the whole day, and it makes the whole day, the communication with humans you're with, I mean, it's so much better. And energy, it's almost like you took a nap or slept, and you've got energy. So,
well, thank you, Suzette.
Thank you for coming on.
Taking the time, so I'm going to get going. But I love this, and I'm so happy with this next step of your journey, and I'd love to
I'm so
come
excited
on down the road.
I've got like 50 people lined up. Yes, I would love you to come back on. And also, just let's link all of where people can get a hold of you, and even people in Florida, or, don't you have books and everything? Like you have so much stuff you haven't talked about. I know you have to go right now, but you're going to have to come back on and let us know all the other stuff you're doing.
Yeah. You can check out the books. 123 books were published this past year. So they are up and ready to go on Amazon.
What? No wonder you're private working.
Okay. Sending you so much love. Thank you.
Love you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh, you guys, that was so amazing. This is my first ever podcast ever. And I am so grateful for Alasa. She has been one of my mentors. And if you guys can connect with her in any way, I promise you will be amazed, and you will get down deeper into your soul and bring it out, because this is what we are. We all are these souls that live in this body, and we just want to be heard and seen and loved. And that's what the spirituality is about, loving ourselves and holding love and space for others. So that's what I'm wanting to do here on my podcast. And so I'm so happy you could join me. Please share this out. If you see it on Spotify or listen to it on Spotify or Apple, please leave a review. Any questions, please let us know and we will get back with you. We love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I will see you next week with a new, I'm not sure yet, but I'll let you know. All right. Love you. Bye.